Deberíamos entrevistar a Robert Hood esta noche.
Ah, a Robert Hood.
Sí, claro.
Está pinchando ahora mismo.
I think around 92, I just had a premonition, and this was at the height of the rave hype, where it was just turning into a circus. The rave parties were just so far overblown, and you had 15 DJs in one night, and you had dancers on stage, and it was just getting ridiculous. And so I had always felt different about how I would interpret techno music, and so I wanted to sort of implant, if you will, in people's minds that it's just about the groove, it's just about the rhythm. And I felt like, the world needs to hear this. And so with conversations with Jeff Mills, with other people, I just decided, well, the Minimal Nation is starting to rise up, and that name just stuck. And we said, well, that's it, that's what we'll call it. Minimal, and this is the Minimal Nation. Just kind of a history lesson, so to speak, and a chance to reiterate what minimalism is from where I come from, from my neighborhood. Growing up in Detroit and listening to acts like Larry Graham, Soft Cell, Electrifying Mojo on the radio. Growing up with certain experiences molded Minimal Nation and my particular minimal sound. And so I just wanted to reintroduce that to people. And it's just important that it doesn't get lost.
This is Electrifying Mojo, traveling through space and time, in search of a tiny star in the Milky Way galaxy called Earth. We're now being tracked. And we'll be marketed across the planet. Very shortly, I'll make my final descent down to planet Earth.
And it's not focusing on necessarily going backwards and focusing on what's been done 15 years ago or what was going on 20 years ago. It's just a reminder to keep the younger generation, the younger producers, remember it's all about the rhythm. It's about the rhythm, and not to get so serious and so caught up in the hype of minimalism. I didn't get into the music scene to be a rock star. I got into it because of my love for music, and I wanted to share my vision and expression with people. That's it. It's nice that people appreciate my music and recognize my music. That feels great. But I'm an artist. At the end of the day, I am a visionary. God gave me a vision, and so I like to stick to that simple, basic structure. It's not about me. It's about the music. It's about God's vision, and me just carrying. I'm just a tool that God is using to, and it's all to glorify Him because He's the creator of all things. So it's just my objective to get that done. wish is that the appreciation for techno electronic music was more global, especially more in Detroit. And it's been a weird connection and disconnection with Detroit people and Detroit techno artists. And I think both the artists and the people of Detroit are to blame, but mostly the artists, us as artists, we need to have a mutual respect, and that hasn't happened. You know, you see cities like Chicago where you got Kanye West, you got artists like Common, you got Buddy Guy, the blues artists, and they all have a deep respect and admiration and support for each other. Whether it's hip hop, house music, or whatever, they support it. You know, and I wish that we would see that for Detroit. And as far as the United States, if we as Detroiters don't respect it and support it and show our love for homegrown music, the rest of the United States won't. And that's just it.
And she said her name was Susan, but baby, let me tell you, you're the one. I'm trying to tell you that you're the one. Baby, I see you.
A lot of people ask me, well, is there a, how do you feel about the relevancy of Detroit techno in music in 2009? And then, you know, what do you see in the how Detroit will be relevant in 2020? Detroit will always be relevant. You know, that's an important, one of the most important things for me to say is Detroit is forever. It's like Motown. It just keeps influencing people. You had artists like Smokey Robinson, Marvin Gaye, The Temptations, and different R&B groups are still measuring themselves by those standards. Stevie Wonder. People are still measuring their talent and skills based off of the standards that they set. And it's the same with Detroit techno. The standards that were set by Kevin Saunderson, Juan Atkins, Derek May, Carl Craig, Stacy Pullen, Jeff Mills, Underground Resistance, Mike Banks, Blake Baxter, are just Drexciya. I mean, you can go on and on and on. People are still comparing themselves with that, so the relevancy is still there, and it will always be there. You know, and to be honest with you, I enjoyed being a part of such an iconic institution, a movement. I can't even call Underground Resistance a group or a band. It was a movement, and it was just amazing to be a part and connected with that. As far as being an individual artist, that just comes naturally. I had to express myself the way I saw things. Underground Resistance had to express how they saw the world, how they saw Detroit, how they saw techno, and how they saw the solar system. And so it's just about self-fulfillment as an artist, as a person, and it's also about self-fulfillment as a band or a movement. And so it's just a delicate balance between the two. But we're still connected. We'll always be connected. You know, musically, we're like brothers musically and in spirit. And so there's always a connection, whether we're not seeing eye to eye, seeing things the same way, or whether we're playing with each other, you know, at a festival, there's still a connection. Yeah. Minimal.
Mínimo.
Minimal. I don't care what's going on. If you put trombones in it, if you put pianos, if you put an orchestra in it, at the end of the day, it's still going to come back to the rhythm section. The rhythm section is what drove music for, countless disco bands. From Chic to KC and the Sunshine Band. It's all about the rhythm section, that bass guitar and the drums. And a little rhythm guitar, it's all about the rhythm. I don't know what sounds will develop over the years or what is. I can't even prophesy that, but whatever's going on is going to come back to that rhythm. That's it. My last sentence is, it's got to be get to know Jesus, get to know God. It's very important that we get to know God and ask God for direction. This world as we know it is going, it's just getting crazier and crazier. When you think about there's shootings now in churches, in abortion clinics, in schools. We hear atrocities every day. I beg people to get to know God on a personal level, not just going to church, but talking to God and getting to know Him intimately. That's it. Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much. Do music from your heart, and not because this particular sound is the flavor of the month or the sound of the moment. Go against the grain. Don't be afraid to go against the grain. Don't be afraid to challenge the system, and don't be afraid to challenge yourself. Techno music gave me, it saved my life, for one thing. It took me from limitless possibilities. It took me from limited possibilities to limitless possibilities. And it gave me just an infinite world I can create and be an artist and be myself.